Public administration and accountability. What is public administration? Public administration is a field in which leaders serve communities to advance the common good and effect positive change. Public administration professionals are equipped with skills to manage at all levels of government, local, state, and federal, as well as non-profit organizations. Public administration is the implementation of public policy, administration of government establishment, management of non-profit establishment, and also an academic discipline that studies this. Nature of public administration. According to this view, public administration is a sum total of all the activities undertaken in pursuit of and fulfillment of public policy. These activities include not only managerial and technical, but also manual and clerical. There are two types of public administration: the integral view and the managerial view. According to the integral view, administration is the sum total of all the activities, manual, clerical, managerial, and etc., which are undertaken to realize the objectives of the organization. What is integral view of public administration? The integral view considers that every activities, manual, clerical, and managerial perform is an organization to accomplish its goal is administrative activities. It means all acts performed by lowest level of officials, say attendant, and up to the head of the department, say the secretary, are the acts of administration. The managerial public administration also, as we have seen, involves a change of management strategy, but this strategy must be put to work in reform administration structures. The general idea is decentralization, delegation of authority. What is the significance of public administration theory to practice? It helps the executive in identifying major policies areas, preparing major policies proposal, analyzing various alternatives and solutions, dividing the major policies into sub-policies. What are the four types of public administration? Four types of administration. When we say classical administration, this theoretical approach defines modernity. This means that a central bureaucracy must exist that keeps this function, coordinates, and concern through an impersonal change of command. Modern public administration, this one is an anti-positivist, anti-technical, and anti-hierarchic reaction against traditional public administration. This because the new public administration was initiated with new generation of researchers. Postmodern public administration is the antithesis of positivism and the logic of objective social science, particularly in efficiency, leadership, and management organization. What is the role of public administration in? They are the ones that sustain economic growth, the promotion of social science, facilitating infrastructure and development, and protecting the environment, promoting public-private partnership, managing development programs, and maintaining legal framework. What are the examples of public administration? Legislative activities, taxation, national defense, public order and safety, immigration services, foreign affairs and international assistance, and many more that purely government nature.
Accountability is an important pillar of any parliamentary democracy. Any public body that uses and manages public funds and resources is accountable to Parliament. Accountability is a concept in political science and ethics with several meanings. It is often used synonymously with such concepts as responsibility, answerability, enforcement, blameworthiness, liability, and other terms associated with the expectation of accounting giving. As an aspect of governance, it has been central to discussions related to problems in both the public and private worlds. Public accountability ensures that officials are openly answerable for the decisions they are taking on behalf of the public. In the absence of public ethics and accountability, corruption and malpractice are able to thrive. As outlined in the final chapter, corruption is damaging to individuals, society, the economy, and government in a number of respects. Even where corruption is not endemic, the absence of public ethics and accountability can be corrosive to public trust in government, public institutions, and officials. The prioritization of public ethics and accountability can help curb the worst excesses of power and encourage more responsible and fair decision making by local authorities. As discussed above, accountability is an obligation to ensure transparency and disclosure. Usually, the concept of expectation and accountability is articulated in the Public Service Code of Conduct. Within a department or a ministry, firstly, behavior is bounded by rules and regulations. Secondly, civil servants are subordinates in hierarchy and accountable to superiors. Public ethics and accountability can contribute to a positive environment where it is recognized that citizens and other stakeholders contribute to the quality of the decision-making process. Finally, public ethics and accountability are key to improving public services because public services that are more responsive and accountable to people and benefit from their insights, ideas, energy, and scrutiny will work better for people and the community as a whole.
In Spain, Spanish America, Brazil, and Portugal, political boss called cacique means hold power in many places, while in Italy, it's called ras. And also, the appearance of being boss has common since Roman Republic. And until now, meron pa rin siya or nagpapatuloy pa rin. Bosses were a major part of political landscape. Pag sinabi po nating political landscape, it is the general situation in which a particular activities take place during the 19th and early 20th century in United States. In politics, a boss is a person who controls a faction or local branch of a political party, but they do not necessarily hold public office themselves. And also, political boss are professional politicians who control political machines, democratic regimes. So, ano nga ba yung political machine na pinamumunuan ng isang boss? So, political machine, an organized group, ayun nga, pinamumunuan ng isang city boss or political boss that controlled activity in a city. And a boss is accountable for his action to no one outside the machine. And political machine was organized group of political officials that control activities out of political policy within the city. City boss is selected a candidate for public office. Tapos, ang isang boss meron siyang hawak o promises sa tao, controlled niya. Tapos, yung mga promises na yon and ibababa niya iyon sa ward boss. Ayan. Tapos, yung ward boss naman, i-report iyon sa black captains and precinct workers na sila yung may connection sa mga voters.
Good day, everyone. I'm your reporter for this day. I'm Cerize Villareal from BPA 2019. So, our topic for this day is all about bureaucratic elites. So, what is bureaucratic elite? Bureaucratic elite is a small political class with a specific material, intellectual, and moral superiority over those they govern. The term bureaucratic elite is broadly described as a governing class that controls the organizational functioning of the state through the hierarchical structure, procedures, personal recruitment, and behavioral compliance with the superiority of legal rational order. Ang bureaucratic elite daw ay isang maliit na uri ng isang politika na mayroong partikular na material, intelektual at moral na seguridad kaysa sa kanilang pamahalaan. Ang bureaucratic elite ay may malawak na inilalarawan bilang isang mamumunong uri na kumokontrol sa organisasyon na nagpapagana ng estado sa pamamagitan ng isang hierarchical na istruktura, mga pamamaraan na pagre-recruit ng mga tauhan at pagsunod sa mga pag-uugali sa higit na kahusayan ng isang legal na nakakapangatwiran na kaayusan. According to Weber, the defining features of bureaucracy sharply distinguish it from the other types of organization. Based on the non-legal forms of authority, Weber observed that the advantage of bureaucracy was that it was the most technically proficient form of organization, possessing specialized expertise, certainty, continuity, and utility. A system of administration distinguished by its first, clear hierarchy of authority. The second is rigid division of labor. The third is written and inflexible rules, regulation, and procedures. Next, the impersonal relationship. And the last is one institute. Bureaucracies are difficult to dislodge or change. Role of bureaucracy. Primary concern is policy implementation, the execution and enforcement of the law made by the legislature. While other function of the government, for example, is representation, policy making, and interest articulation are carried out by the variety of other institutions they work for their political matters. And according to the Weber, the strict compliance tend bureaucrats to become specialists without spirit. Function of bureaucracy. Despite that they exert considerable influence on the policy process and fulfill a number of key functions which are: the first is administration, the second is policy advice, the third is articulating interests, and fourth is political stability. Administration core function is to implement or execute law and policy, charged with administrating government business. A clear line is drawn between the policy-making role of politician and policy-implementing role of bureaucrats. Political executive called the government, and the bureaucrats that refer as the administration. The size of bureaucracy is closely linked to the broader responsibilities of government. The second function is policy advice. Chief source of the policy information and advice available to the government or political executives. Distinguished top-level civil servants, or having the daily contact with the politician, with middle or junior civil servants. Policy is supposedly made by the politicians. Bureaucrats simply offer advice. No clear distinction between the policy making and policy advice. Decisions are made by the basis of the available information. The third function is articulating interest. Brought into the contact with the interest group through tasks of policy implementation and involvement in policy formulation and advice. Groups such as a doctor, teacher, farmers, and business cooperation become client group, serviced by the respective agencies. However, this clientism may also infer with the public responsibilities and duties of a civil servant. The last and the fourth function is the political stability. One of the functions to provide a focus of stability and continuity within political system, mostly seen in developing countries. This stability depends very largely on the status of bureaucrats as permanent and professional public servants, while minister and government come and go. However, continuity has also its own advantage without effective scrutiny. It can lead to corruption, a major issue of developing states, compounded by the widespread poverty and disadvantage. I hope you learned something, and that's all. Thank you.